we go. And who doesn't love a good underdog story? After being the last at-large team to get into the playoff, Miami has pulled off 2 upsets, first against Texas A&M in the first round, and then took out the defending champions Ohio State in the quarterfinals. As for Ole Miss, they lost their head coach Lane Kiffin to LSU back in November, despite being on the cusp of their first ever playoff appearance in program history. However, the Rebels have continued their winning ways, defeating Tulane in the first round and upsetting Georgia in the quarterfinals. Paul Feinbaum back here with us, and we talked about it at the top of the show. Plenty of good storylines with these matchups in the semis. However, Paul Feinbaum, I'll start with you. Who has a better story here, Miami or Ole Miss?
I think it is Ole Miss. Now, Miami's story is great. I mean, and you laid it out perfectly, but you can't get a better story than Ole Miss. And just for those of you who have been in a cave for the last couple of weeks, Lane Kiffin built this program. He was the architect. He made it relevant for the first, Ole Miss's best season for the first time in 60 years. And then what did he do? He left. He left for more money and, in his mind, a better opportunity to go to LSU. He felt like he could win a national championship at LSU. Remember, Brian Kelly said the same thing 5 years ago when he left for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's played for a national championship more recently than LSU. But what happened was this. His team got on a run, as you laid out. Lane Kiffin has had no part of it. The school would not let him continue to coach. Most of his assistant coaches were there for the first 2 games, but they won't be there Thursday night. Only Charlie Weiss and the running backs coach. And this has turned into not only the story of this football season, but one of the most incredible stories in college football history, assuming Ole Miss can get past this game on Thursday night and move on to Miami for the national championship.
Stephen A., it's just so many layers when you take a look at Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin leaving to go to LSU. Who has the better story here, Ole Miss or Miami?
I think Ole Miss has a phenomenal story, and I get it. But I'm going to say Miami for a similar reason that I said earlier in the show. I'm fantasizing about what Miami could potentially do. I mean, this cat Bain and Macedon, the way these cats get after it. I mean, listen, when you look at Miami, look at who they beat. I mean, look at who they beat to get there. And so I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And I'm saying if these cats go out there to beat Texas A&M, to beat Ohio State, to beat both of them, I mean, one would argue that the road to the Final Four they've had the toughest one. And they've looked like monsters on the defensive side of the ball, really, really getting after it. But here's the other thing. If they win, Ole Miss, that's a really, really feel-good story. That's about Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
Miami wins, it's about college football. And the impact it will have, the collateral impact it will have on the overall sport itself. First of all, to be from the conference that they're in. Secondly, the fact that it will remind us of their glory days, the Jimmy Johnsons of the world, the Michael Irvins of the world, and people like that. You understand? The Vinny Testaverdes and these cats coming to games and their fatigues on.
I'm getting goosebumps.
When you think about Miami college football, that's what you think about, and you miss it. Let's call it what it is. You really, really just think about. I mean, the world that we're living in. We might lament it from time to time because you got young whippersnappers that don't know how to respect their elders half the time and stuff like that. And I get that part, right? But the other side to it is that think about the renegade mentality that Miami had and personified. And think about what if that sort of returned to college football and in a justifiable manner because they were elite and they were winning championships. Think about the impact that would have on the overall sport. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm fantasizing about. And that's why I would say it has the potential to be an even greater story than Ole Miss.
I've got friends who are in like accounting and marketing in New York City who are Miami alums.
Yeah.
And they have that bravado.
Yeah.
Like that is a culture.
Yep.
And you think of Jerome Brown coming off that plane in the fatigues when they're going up against Notre Dame or when they're playing Penn State that year. That is a real element to have back in college football, and there's a nostalgia for that. But you think about this Ole Miss story. First of all, the dismissal of Ole Miss by everyone in our network and everyone in college football talking about it as if it's an assumed little brother to LSU, to Alabama, to Georgia. Everyone kind of justified Lane Kiffin's decision. Well, you got to go from Ole Miss to LSU. Ole Miss is sitting there. They're the last SEC team left. And to reach the highest peak of that program's history amidst this turbulent waters that they're dealing with, it is a story you can appreciate. And kudos to those kids, Trinidad Chambliss, to Stribling, who I love watching, Lacey, the running back. This team is legit. And the fact that they're doing this and being able to block out the noise, and I get kind of grossed out by everyone just talking about dollars all the time and Lane Kiffin's money and all this. It's okay, enough. That's not why I watch college football. I don't care about Lane Kiffin's money.
Right.
And yet these guys were able to focus and say, we're going to follow these coaches. We're going to follow Joe Judge and Pete Golding and, of course, Charlie Weiss Jr., and they're going to be the ones who lead us, not Lane Kiffin. I respect it.
Because of what you're saying, I feel compelled to go in the direction that I'm about to go in. It's very, very important. And I want to say this with Paul Feinbaum on the air because he has a right to hear this as well. When Lane Kiffin departed for LSU, I didn't blame him one bit. And this notion about Ole Miss and him going to LSU, departing from there, that's not about this year. Nobody's looking at them and questioning whether they were legit playoff team and they could make some noise. That's not about this year. That's about a combination of history and looking forward to what it will be. Now, the mouth of the South, Uncle Paulie, Paul Feinbaum, knows more. As a black man, I can tell you this. You're coming from Oxford, Mississippi. You're not thinking that if you're a black kid in Mississippi, fine. But are you going to be able to recruit cats to come to Oxford, Mississippi, like you can recruit them to go to LSU? The accuracy of it, I'm not debating. Paul, I will defer to you on that. What I'm saying is perception-wise. You know, when as a black man, when you bring that up and you're like, Mississippi? I'm telling you, if you're not from Mississippi and you hear Mississippi, you pause. You pause. That's all I'm saying, you pause. And it's like, that's something that's inescapable. And that's what and when you think about LSU and you're recruiting kids and the vast majority of these players are going to be black, you're thinking, do I have a better chance to recruit an Ole Miss from Oxford, Mississippi, or do I have a better chance to recruit at a spot like LSU, Alabama, Georgia, stuff like that, even though that's in the South as well? It's a reality. It's a reality. Whether it's fair or not, it's just a reality that you question it. That's what it was all about, nothing more. Paul, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, Stephen, it is a fact that the last time Ole Miss was this good was in 1963, before integration came to the SEC, and you can't escape that fact.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of layers and things to get into when you talk about recruiting in Ole Miss and the departure of Lane Kiffin. So much to get into. All right, Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore are about to clash in the CFP semis. Will the winner of this game be the #1 overall pick in the NFL?